Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla. And today I have a very special guest, Ken Sandy. Ken is the owner of First Team Dryy and also managing partner of Dryy Garment Care. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you can give the general audience, before we go into your personal story as far as the businesses, who are they? What are they exactly, please?
Dryy Garment Care is a reimagined dry cleaning platform. And so what we learned early on is that we wanted to meet people at their preferred method. And we originally started out back in 2002. My business partner started the valet solution when e-commerce was really coming down the pipeline, about 2002, 2003. He's second generation dry cleaner, so he is the GOAT of dry cleaning. Fast forward, double-digit growth till about 2015. We then started getting into some technology, and I had my own business at the time. I was the first guy to bring dry cleaning locker technology solution to the DMV. And that's when I was really at the height of my entrepreneur spirit, execution, or lack thereof. And I was doing really well in selling, changing the concept, having people buy into the theory and the solution. But I was kind of in trouble a little bit because I was outsourcing, and you don't really realize how crucial it is when you put your reputation in someone else's hands. You lose a lot of it. So therefore, met Mr. Wu is his name, Seo-Ha Wu, and the company was called Total Cleaners at that time. I had technology solutions. He was not doing technology. I knew if he came into the market, he would destroy me. And so I had a huge portfolio that he couldn't penetrate. And so it just made sense to merge. And so he bought me out. It was a small buyout, very modest. And then we aligned forces to then change the way DMV does laundry. And we've done just that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great. Speaking of the DMV, are you originally from the DMV area?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia, 90 miles south.
Yes.
Originally grew up my entire childhood there, went to elementary, junior, and high school, and then went on to VCU.
Okay. All right. So always sort of that local Richmond area.
Correct.
Okay.
But I knew it would not be for me long term.
Oh, you did? Why is that?
This isn't, it's not a mover shaker town like I'm wired.
Okay. So you wanted something larger, bigger.
For sure. A little more diverse, a little mover shake, a little forethought, that entrepreneur kind of demographic.
Yeah.
Not that it's not there, just not in the volume that I need.
So we're talking about entrepreneurship right now. Growing up in Richmond, I'm curious, what were you into? Did you even have anything there as far as entrepreneurial spirit at a young age already?
No, I had a very successful father. We're very middle class, very modest upbringing. Who my dad went on to be very successful. Somebody that I look up to an entire lot. But he was in the corporate circuit, if you will. He got into IT and writing software and became very successful. So I didn't have an entrepreneurial mentor or guide. I always had the spirit. I had that little extra oomph. And I say oomph because back then you couldn't harness it. And after college, I went on to do the corporate circuit. And I was in so many different industries. And I just always never felt like it's where I belonged.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious, at VCU, what did you major in?
Business.
Of course.
Hard sell there.
Yeah. So after VCU, you said you were just in the corporate circuit
Went into the insurance industry. My first real job was with Cigna Healthcare, and I was a member services director. And that's back when the call center world started centralizing, and they started taking it from the local level. And there was a big craze, and they moved me down to Charlotte. And I just did the call center hop. I was good at it. I was good at managing and directing people. And so I just was in that go for the next, $5,000 per year was the winner, right? So I did that for several years, tried a few things along the way that never really stuck, but I came to DC in '99 professionally. And I started doing patent and trademark litigation research for large intellectual property law firms. And I was in business with a gentleman named Tom Lupo, and we did real well. Were disruptors in that market, and technology continued to change that. And fast forward, how I got to here in terms of Dryy, I was working for a logistics company in freight logistics out of Woodbridge, Virginia, and lost some major contracts, got laid off, and there I was again going, what in the heck's going on? And so I was mid 40s at the time, and I said, this is the real time that I really need to put forth all entrepreneur effort. Didn't have anything to lose, super modest lifestyle, living in the northeast sector of Washington, D.C., And so I dove in and I started a little marketing company called T&K Marketing, and didn't even know what the hell I was doing. But I did know that I had impact and I was able to help people change and evolve and create identity. And so I sought out to focus on minority-owned, small, typically business-owned businesses. Those folks start businesses from their living room sometimes, and they evolve, and before you know it, they don't know how to go to the next level. And so I had about 6 or 7 clients. It was a lot of fun on helping them with their brand, their logo, and create service models. And I answered a Craigslist ad. This is a very true story. And it was a guy named Jesse Gabrano who wanted to do dry cleaning lockers. And for whatever reason, it spoke to me. DSC being super dense and multifamily development, it's one of the most exciting cities in terms of multifamily that I think you could possibly be in. There's no more cranes in the sky than DC. And everything was on demand and valet and technology solutions and anything that could not replace a human being, but take one less load off so they could focus elsewhere, was a real low lift. It was an easy sales pitch. And so dry cleaning lockers spoke. We started doing just that, and we were well on our way. And that's when I met Seoha Wu, who owned Total Cleaners, had not done dry cleaning lockers, and we realized that together we could really make some change.
That's great. Ken, I'm curious, when you mentioned the marketing company here when you were in Northeast, was that the first business endeavor you had, or did you do other things prior?
First owned where I created it, I launched it, I LLC'd it,
Okay.
I EIN'd it. Right, I created my own website. It was very small. It's called T&K Marketing. It was a blip, in fact, because the dry cleaning locker business, it was called Huckleberry after the movie Tombstone. I'll be your Huckleberry. Didn't last long because once that became our largest contract, T&K Marketing, we went all in with it. So it didn't last long because then Total Cleaners and I merged and bought us out. So it was probably a 7-month run, but I'll always attribute that being the best run ever because it's why I'm here today.
Sure. Oh, so that's interesting. So when you said the Craigslist ad, that was because it was a marketing client of yours. That's how the connection started.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
we went in to just help this guy market, create some branding, create some service components, and it just morphed from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We became a partner in it. Yeah.
You became a partner in it. Okay. I understand. And then I guess the name was changed.
Well, it was called Huckleberry Dry Cleaning Lockers, and then Total Cleaners bought us out. And then Total Cleaners was the mothership.
Okay.
And then 2018, when we launched retail, which I'll get to, we learned that dry cleaning lockers, check, yes, technology, check. It was shiny. Everybody wanted to be part of it. Along with a concept that all roads will lead to dry. That's really was very intentional for us. And as these neighborhoods like Union Market, City Vista, Capitol Riverfront, even up into Bethesda, were started to emerge, we realized that lockers wasn't a one-stop solution. I would literally, this is another true story, would sit out during rush hour in a work van and watch people come down a building, go through the lobby, past the dry cleaning locker, and walk 5 blocks to a retail dry cleaner store. So what that told me is that people still had human engagement cravings, and that with dry cleaning, that was always going to be a touch point. And so we didn't just want to be the next retail drop store. We wanted to have an engagement space that was reimagined, that every square foot would be in concert and that it would be a different experience. And so we hired architects, Allison Cook and the team Core over in Georgetown, and they really helped create our identity. They really helped us become who we are today. And that's part of the entrepreneurship, knowing that, yes, she's going to help us change our concept and our look and define who we are, but that professional alignment too. I can't talk on how valuable that's been.
So then I guess the division changed then when you brought into architects, right?
Yep. So at that point, we were still called Total Cleaners. We had retail desire. Nobody would give us a shot. We were nobody. We meant nothing to anybody. And we sat down in Chevy Chase with the team at Eden's, Jody McLean and her team, and they looked at us like we were crazy. But nonetheless, we kept at it. And with the rebrand and who we are and our vision, they gave us a chance. And again, we'll always be grateful for that.
Okay. So you were just saying about the rush hour. You notice that people just walk past the lobby through your lockers, past your lockers, and then go to the dry cleaner.
So we run our business by data. Data tells the story, and you're in a very dense neighborhood where there's 6,000 units in a 3-block radius, and each building's only voting 20 to 30% usage, but yet there's 500 units. Something's wrong. Like we're not speaking to the entire community. We did pop-ups, we did wine and cheeses, we did specials, we did yappy hours, we did everything you could possibly think of to, create the visibility in the channel, and folks would still preferred a retail drop store. But we'd never bring that out to the outlier communities. We're not a rural brand. We're definitely a super central urban brand.
Sure.
And we believe that, again, we just want to meet people at their preferred method. So if technology doesn't speak to you, we've got a retail drop in your neighborhood, and typically a walk neighborhood where folks come home and walk to get to the grocery store, get coffee, get their dry cleaning, be social, wine bars, restaurants, etc.
Sure. So you still have the locker, and then you also have a physical store.
Yeah, so it gets unique sometimes when you're in every building surrounding one of your Dryy stores, and that's got some complication to the branding. Folks think that you can drop off someplace and deliver another. We've got some things to work on in that regard, but that's exciting, right? The possibilities keeps it exciting to improve. But we tell folks, if you want to use a locker to execute your traditional dry cleaning, you can get your alterations or your if you want to take your garment in for assessments for sizing, etc.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the way the lockers works is what you put in, I guess, your credit card, and a locker pops open, and then you put in your garments. How is it?
Sorta. So it's a little different. So lockers really aren't that smart. We call them smart lockers, but they're really not that smart. It's the app and it's the muscle behind the locker that makes it smart. It's an app-based solution, just like Uber, just like if you get on a scooter, just like if you order your Amazon products to your house, or prescriptions or drugstore, et cetera. So you put your laundry in a locker, you place your order in the app in front of the locker.
Okay.
We then get a hit. We know it's there to pick up. We come pick up and it's back in 2 days. And they can log in their profile anytime throughout the journey and know where their clothes are in the process. And everything's real-time notification.
Okay. So with the app then, can you say, okay, I have 3 shirts or 5 pants or whatever? Is it that?
You can do anything. You can shoe repair, leather attention. You can do alterations. Yes. So it's a full service app. Wash and fold.
Okay. And then it gives you the total, then it gets charged, and then you pick it up, I guess, how many days later?
Always 2 days. That's our standard model.
Okay.
So we're owner operators. We own a 20,000 square foot facility out in Northern Virginia. It's kind of where the magic happens. It's where we start and end our day. But everything's a 2-day turnaround. And obviously we couldn't afford this kind of space in district proper.
Of course.
So
yeah.
Same day service. We haven't really grasped that yet. It's a shame because we get a lot of requests for it, but we don't have the infrastructure for that.
Okay. So then I guess you have several vans that come in and pick up and then take it to the plant, the 20,000 square foot plant in Northern Virginia.
That's correct. We are eco-friendly cleaning lab here. Everything is Green Earth. We are certified Green Earth cleaner. We've got 15 vans that typically deploy here each day. 15.
Okay. That's good. And I guess how many points, drop points, pickup points you have with lockers to, I guess out of those lockers, how many physical locations do you have?
Great question. We're in over 500 communities.
Wow.
And whether that be a locker or just a traditional valet, you have to remember before lockers, everything was traditional touch point to the valet concierge or leasing office. And so we've pretty much replaced that concept in just about every Class A multifamily community, from Rockville down to DC, down to the harbor, back down to Loudoun County, going through Tysons, Fairfax, Reston, Herndon, et cetera. But the total count is over 500 communities.
Okay. And as far as physical stores, do you have that?
We have 3 Dryy stores.
Okay.
We didn't know much about retail. We knew we needed to learn a little bit about it before we launched Dryy. So we actually purchased Noma Cleaners. It's in the Noma neighborhood.
Okay.
Folks have figured it out because all of their receipts say Dryy Garment Care. And we were going to rebrand that just before the pandemic, but obviously we're still redefining some sustainability. So that's not priority right now.
Okay. So Noma Cleaners had 3 stores and you bought all 3 of them.
Noma Cleaners only had 1.
Oh, 1. Okay.
We bought that just to kind of get familiar on what retail looked like in the urban setting. We bought that in 2016. Again, all this is very intentional. We've known where we were going, which is super crucial in the entrepreneurial journey, knowing where you're going or trying to go. We bought that in late 2016, early 2017, and got familiar on the pulse on how the beat is day to day in the urban footprint.
Sure. Where your other 2 locations are?
Capitol Riverfront.
Okay.
And we have City Vista, Mount Vernon, some people call it, 5th and K.
Okay. And I'm assuming since they were just drop-off pickups are what, 1,000 square feet, 1,200 or so?
A great question. Ideally, if we had the blank canvas, we'd always take about 1,000. Unfortunately, we're never in control of that. And it's either the crumbs that are left or somebody bailed on a lease. Yeah, yeah. So Union Market's our flagship. We have a lot of space there, and we designed it accordingly. But we don't have that much space in any other location.
How big is Union Market?
We have a 1,600 square feet.
Oh, okay, okay. What were you going to say? You have what?
We have a fourth store that's it's public information now. Tishman Spare, the Crossing DC community, has allowed us to become part of their mixed-use space, and so we're on the side of the First Street, and that's in construction now. So we're super excited about that.
That's great. I'm curious with COVID, 2 years ago or so when it started, how did that affect, if at all, your 3 stores?
It's devastating. So you got to imagine, we had just launched retail and we were on a super high emotionally. The reception, we knew we got it right. And then in March 2020, we were starting to see some real good traffic, even having just launched. And then of course the pandemic hit like a tornado. And by the end of March, we were concerned if we were going to be able to withstand and make it, because we'd never been the landlord. We'd always been our own landlord as owner operators. Now we were the tenant, not knowing how we were going to navigate that. I had staff in each store. The mayor deemed us essential, so we thought that was going to be a great thing, but still nobody was moving around. But listen, we have great relationships. We tapped into all of the government programs, and we got enough to keep us afloat. We did the right thing. We kept our staff super busy. We diverted all of our efforts into philanthropic work. Really made some real impact, some defined measurable outcomes, which I thought spoke great to the branding and to who we are as an organization and culture. So listen, that's behind us now. We're so excited to be beyond it. We're seeing historical numbers now. So it's not victim, but it was really a really difficult time for us.
Oh, I'm glad to hear now that you're growing. I mean, obviously growing enough that you're about to open location number 4.
Yeah.
And who knows, more in the future.
Well, we think we've delivered a luxury brand. I'll take all offers, man, for licensing, franchising. I hope your podcast touches the masses.
Hey, I know we have some audience in Singapore. I've seen that, but the majority, over 73%, are all local here in the DMV.
Yeah. No, what we learned is that we really love being hyper local, and that's an overused term, I think, sometimes, but we really have found the value. Prior to the pandemic, a little fun fact, we were going to expand to Baltimore, and we're considering Richmond. And I'm so thankful that if I have to be thankful for the pandemic for anything, it stopped that growth.
Sure.
And educate us in that dry cleaning is super operationally, it's taxing. It's a real labor intense business, and your quality is everything. So when you start to expand, you lose a little of that. And I don't know that we would have done a good job in executing that. So it's kept us super condensed, refocused, and we want to be an all roads lead to dry concept here in the DMV and continue changing the way DC does laundry. Keep it super local.
When you were thinking of expanding, Ken, outside of the DMV market, whether Baltimore, Richmond, or elsewhere, was it more your dry stores, or was it more just the lockers?
You're all over it. You're asking great questions. And so it was just lockers at the time. And the reason that is because we build our business on relationship, reciprocal give and take. And so how we found our claim to fame was actually not going in at the street level and introducing ourselves to concierge or front desk staff. Not that that's a bad method. It's a longer cycle. So with all the crazy development, it became obvious that pre-construction, pre-design is where we could cast one net, become a solution, be part of the schematic part, the design, the test fit, and then we get the whole portfolio. And so by the time management comes on, we're already there.
Yeah,
we're part of the community versus an added value later. And that was a home run. And that being said, so all the Gray Stars, the Bizzutos, the JBG Smiths, Kettlers, Folger Pratts, as they tend to expand their markets, they try to take us with us. So it's super flattering. Unfortunately, it's always a hard no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to Richmond, you're going to have to put another plant up there, down there.
Or run it. And what does that look like? 95 commutable, right? So talk about the service breakdowns, and then we're the worst people on the planet when we don't get it right.
Yeah.
Rebounding from that's difficult.
You said you have over 500 or so locations where the lockers are, right? Are most of them multifamily, or is it office, or are they placed?
So initially we were like, we'll just drop them where everybody wants them, right? But they're no cost to the end user. They're operationally a cost to us. And we learned early on that that was not the best fit. And so even the commercial downtown business district, even with the buildings that have the law firms, again, everybody does the survey monkey. Everybody wants them, can't wait till they arrive. And then changing that habit is really difficult. Folks just don't bring their laundry to work. Although it makes more sense, right? You don't have to stop on the way home or on the way in. We just can't break that habit. And so we just had lockers collecting dust. So we restructured. We also did that during the pandemic. Went and reallocated lockers and increased inventory to use elsewhere for like residential buildings. We even explored doing a kiosk, like a controlled access, like an ATM, late night ATM. Couldn't get anywhere with the development phase of that because we only need a very little space. And again, developers don't even want to talk about 400 square feet. So it's multi-family is where the bang for the buck.
Okay, so the majority, I guess, what, over 90% or higher is multifamily? Right.
We do have them, and we're in the process of now going into the World Bank. I think that'll be a good partnership. There's a lot of traffic there. I've got the data prior, and they have a lot of dry cleaning customers, and they're trying to changing. They don't want a touch point. They don't want to manage it anymore. We're in Freddie Mac, and they do really well there. So there's still some few places that it speaks to. Okay.
And I guess
one other store I didn't mention is we have a 10-year contract at the House of Representatives in Longworth. And that's a real feather in the cap. We're very proud to align there. It's, one of the most powerful places in the land.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
With the multifamily, I guess with their, obviously is an amenity for the residents. So, or do you have to pay anything to the landlord there? Let's say Pizzuto wants to put you there in one of their multifamilies.
Competition created this whole revenue share thing in 2017. And listen, we've defeated a couple of folks trying to penetrate this market with another locker concept. And it speaks back to being hyper-local and controlling your quality. And when you outsource, people catch on real quick that regardless if it's a great technology solution, the service doesn't meet expectation, which was one of the biggest reasons we could continue to win and outwork. So we got in on that for a while, right? We want to keep everybody happy, but the reality is it never breaks us. It never makes anybody rich, and it makes accountants very upset. It's just another general ledger line item to track, and you can't do a lot with the little bit of money that it earns.
Yeah.
So we re-changed the thought of it being just a value add, and you should want them there for that reason and reason only.
Can you get the developers behind that? Because I'm sure if they were used to revenue share, hey, it's another income coming into the property, right?
Initially, when you show them how little money that it makes, it no longer has a lot of interest.
Okay.
And then people shift and they tap into the value add.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Did you notice when COVID started too? I mean, I'm just thinking about myself personally.
Yeah.
I would go weekly prior to COVID and take my shirts because I was suit and tie every day to the office. Now with COVID, that completely changed even afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm just more casual now, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't even go weekly. I can't remember the last time I go here and there to the dry cleaners. So what were those numbers? I know you track data, but I'm sure you noticed some type of dip, right?
80% dip, right?
Wow.
So for the first 10 months, we were operating on 25%. Yeah. Figure that one out.
Gosh.
Yeah. Because nobody was going to work, and then it was the hybrid, and then we just sat back and we didn't get excited any longer until now. We really feel that we're on this true return to work campaign, if you will. I think that people have been a little fooled to think that they're going to work from home forever. I think you're starting to see companies soft suggesting, and then it's getting a little more demanding. We are now back to, again, historical numbers. So I think with our market, which is why we keep it super central, super urban. Listen, DC's a legislation town. So if you're going to do dry clean, you got to do it in DC, right? It's a suit town, and that will always have that here. But to the folks like yourself, yes, we'll never get you back like we had you, right? Even hybrid schedules, if you're going in 2 days a week, you don't have the volume to need. Yeah. And you can even shift and start doing it from home. So it's still uncertain for us. And that's the one thing we can't grasp. We can't really project.
Sure.
Yeah. Where do you currently take your dry cleaning, by the way?
Just the local, I mean, there's a grocery anchored shopping center where there's a Giant. So it's just maybe less than a 5-minute drive from my house, and it's right there. It's local, and that's where I've taken them. And obviously they closed for COVID,
Yeah.
and I had no need for them. And then I finally took some shirts, and I definitely don't take it weekly. I think now I don't even know how often, maybe a couple of weeks or once a month. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So but the other thing is that unfortunately for some that closed their doors due to the pandemic, that will create opportunity for us, right? The ones that stand the test will force some of that business to us, and we are starting to see a lot of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in commercial real estate, as you know, and you probably know the dry cleaner is basically run by Koreans.
Yep.
I have a lot of clients in the business, and a lot of them unfortunately shut doors down. Yes. And even though it was just a pickup drop off, it was it was not a plant. You're not seeing now plants most days in shopping centers anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my business partner, he is Korean, and listen, he runs a really good operation, and having that second generation dry cleaning experience has been one of the main reasons we've been able to marry and really take this to the next level.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Ken, I wanted to briefly go back, because you mentioned you did over 20, 30 years your corporate career. And it sounds like you always had that bug, that entrepreneurial bug, that you wanted to do something on your own. What do you think it was there that sort of was always there? And then I think until you said your mid-40s is when you finally did it. It was with the marketing company.
So I always had the vision. It was just the know-how, right? The alignment, the fear, right? When you're cultured, when I came out of school, it was get that job, invest in your 401k, maximize the matching program, watch it every 2 years. And I did that for decades. But I always had the bug, I always had the desire. But I think in the mid-40s when I got laid off, I think it just was clicked that this was the time. It's much more mature, much more seasoned, much more traveled. And so I was ready to go all in.
That's good. Because you see it a lot of times, and not all the times, as time progresses, you obviously have more responsibilities in your plate, whether with family, wife, husband, kids, and then you're used to a certain lifestyle. You have a mortgage, you have this car, if you're in private school, and it gets harder and harder. You get addicted to that paycheck.
You do. Well, it's survival. It means either the car, you keep the car or not. But 50% of businesses don't last 5 years, right? So at that point, I really was attracted to that, because what I knew that is if I was going to be one of those 50% businesses that didn't make it, I was going to walk away with one hell of an experience, right?
Yeah.
So I was willing to take the chance more than ever then, obviously, and it paid off.
At that time, I don't know if you're married or have any children. Did you have a significant other?
I did not. I was single. So again, all the things were in line to give it a try, right? I had nothing to really lose.
That's
wasn't long after I started that I did find my soulmate, right, and got married, and I'm super fortunate there too. So I got the package.
That's good. It worked out.
It worked out. Yeah. I think.
The question's still out there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Sometimes I have the conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say drives and motivates you?
Listen, friendships, reciprocal relationships, both personal and professional, changing things up, kindness, laughter. The list goes on. We could take this for 2 hours.
Yeah. You've had a very rich career, and I know you still have a long time in front of you. Is there anything that comes to mind that you're most proud of?
Honestly, all of Dryy, right? I was part of birthing the word Dryy, the 2 Ys. We actually hired a group called Polygraph Creative, Gavin Wade and those folks over in the Southeast by Barracks Row. Incredible folks. They're the one that did the design for us. So, I'm umbilically connected. So I'm super proud of that. I'm super proud that everything we intended to do, we are doing. I'm doing something that makes me happy, man. I'm doing something that I enjoy.
And I love the name too, and the whole brand and marketing of it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sexy like Dryy, right? It's like Dry Ice, man, or Dry Run, which we do now, an annual Dry Run, which is coming up at the end of the month. But the philanthropic work that we do with this platform, I always say we're so much more than a dry cleaner, and it sounds cliche, but it's so true. Like, we've got the infrastructure. We're a super solid organization that does great work. And if we keep that solid and consistent, it allows us to do so many other things.
Such as what? I know you said philanthropics.
Yeah, so we reach out, we do call to actions twice a year. Keep in mind, if we just use our resources, because ultimately I can't do anything but that. My resources are, I've got mobile vans that can service transport. I've got partnerships in 500 communities, which bodes X amount of residents. I can just launch call to action campaigns, man, and people really want to help. So they bring their clothing down to the lobby. They bring non-perishables. We'll do it twice a year. We reach out to food outposts. Many programs, and our most recent was Dress for Success in the House of Mercy in Manassas, Virginia. And so we get people ready for that first interview, that return to work, or just day-to-day clothing. Again, I'm just a dry cleaner, so I can only use my resources. But now we align with other change agents in the community, and we create these intersections of community, culture, and commerce, which is what the Dryy Run's all about. And gosh, it's so unconventional, but it's kind of magic. It's a lot of electric happens during those events.
I agree. I think especially when you can sort of join together with other people, it's just much better for the growth. Sure. Yeah.
We just continue to do what feels natural.
When was the name officially changed with the whole branding to Dryy?
Yeah, so it started early 2017 on what the name was going to be, and we whiteboarded it and went through a ton of options. Dryy was just always the one that stuck, and then we all agreed that was going to be the actual name. And then we toyed with, when do we do it? Is it now? Is it later? And nobody has those answers, by the way. And so we just had enough, and we deemed January 1, 2018, we're just pulling the trigger.
Okay.
And then you just kind of lay back and see what's going to happen. And we did a lot of prep. Fortunately, and pat on the back, it was received really well. Like, we never had any pushback. Everybody knew the transition was coming. There was not a lot of questions. It was all there to verify and see. So again, execution, a lot of intention.
That's good.
Yeah.
Ken, having the right team and surrounding yourself with the right team and partners is obviously imperative with any business. How does your team look today, and how do you go about finding those right team members?
I tend to be the face of the company, but man, I'm such a small piece of why this place is magical. And that is the truth. Like, we've got about 48 to 52 production workers. That varies based on load. Those folks show up selflessly every single day and work hard. We've got 15 drivers that are also the face of this company, that are out in front of these buildings, and concierge staff and property management staff that represent us each and every day. I've got a business partner who gives me a blank canvas and says, "Go, Ken, go." It's a well-oiled machine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm curious, if someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, Ken, I want to start a business, dry cleaning related or not, any industry," what are some suggestions and advice you would give that individual when it comes to starting this business?
Listen, there's so many skills that are involved on being an entrepreneur and starting it. I mean, you got to have an initiative, right? You got to notice a problem. You have to think of a solution. You got to be able to make it available, right? So find those things first. Look at, create some projections to find your target audience. Make sure that you've got persuasiveness. Make sure that you can delegate. Make sure you've got some financial skills or somebody in your arsenal that does. Confidence, empathy. I mean, there's so many required skills, man.
Yeah.
Are
they any specific habits or even traits you feel that you've had that helped you with the business, or even just on your personal side of things?
I'm super persuasive. I tend to have a lot of confidence. I'm super empathetic, and I'm brave. I'm brave as hell, right? So you got to have bravery. Without it, it's a hard journey.
Yeah. That's good. It sounds like you have a lot of great sales skills and personal skills with other people.
Yeah. Well, that's been super helpful, right? Convincing people that buying into the solution, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Not just believe in me, that I believe in my own product, but believing that it's a solution for you. Yeah.
Well, what's the biggest challenge that you have with your role at Dryy today?
Listen, we do a lot of multitasking. One of our culture models, cornerstones, that we run thin. So our staff, we all jump in and do whatever it takes. So as we are bouncing back from the pandemic, we were spread thin. So multitasking, time management, I've never been the best at that. I think I am, but I'm really not. But I could definitely use some freshen up in time management. I get plugged in, I get enrolled, and I don't know when to cut.
That happens sometimes. You can just get lost in things.
And delegating, right? Like I say that I'm a great delegator, but I don't know that I really am. Like part of the reason this place is successful is because the entrepreneurial spirit, the startup, we take it to a certain level, right? And we feel that we can't hand it off. And I would definitely tell folks, learn how to delegate and know when to delegate.
That's important.
Yeah.
What do you know now, Ken, that you wish you would have known at the start of your career?
That I could have done it long ago. Yeah, that I should have jumped long ago. Yeah.
So not wait till your mid-40s then.
Not wait till your mid-40s. Listen, the journey's great. I mean, I don't have any regrets, but could have been a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have started the business earlier, it probably would have not been Dryy, or would have been something else, maybe.
No, arguably, no, it would not have been. I would have done something else for sure. But just start out and be my own boss, be the control of my own destiny.
Yeah. Speaking of other businesses, I know you're involved also with another business, right? First Team Dryy.
Yeah. My spouse and I are part owner in it, and we share that with my current business partner here at Dryy Garment Care. We had talked about doing restoration, and what that means is fire, water, smoke, mold, mildew extraction from garments. We call them textiles in the industry, or soft goods, shoes, belts, etc. We've been doing a little bit of it anyway because we're in, again, 500 communities. We're aligned with these property management companies, and these buildings have issues every single day. And by being their preferred choice, they were calling us to do it. We just didn't have enough insight to go in and become a certified restoration company and be able to charge national pricing. So we were doing it at retail pricing and talked about it. Dryy consumed us for so long. Pandemic gave us the break, the reprieve that we needed to kind of refocus and not have all of our eggs in one basket. So we did a lot of homework. We searched all of the options out there. There's a ton of them. First Team franchise really spoke to us culturally. Holly Murray, who's the president, her and Simon Broad, they run a great organization. They have a family feel. So we feel like we're a family business that will help families in need, and that aligned, and the national support they give. So we bought a franchise in early 2021. It went live September 2021. So we're about 10 months in now.
How does the franchise model work? Do you have a location or?
Yeah, so the beauty is that we're owner operators. And so we've got a facility that we can,
of course,
multi-use, right? Staff that we have to keep busy. So if you ever want to start up, the second startup was by far easier. We've already got the vans. We've already got everything in place. We've got the insurance requirements. We've got the everything that goes with it.
So as far as then getting the customers for that business, does that come through Dryy, or how does it?
Well, sort of, right? So the property management companies that still need our services will just use us in our new business, the true restoration. But it's a different beat. So now we're out looking at restoration companies like Service Masters, ServPro, R1, the Puro Cleans, and we go up under them. So they're first on site. They're the fire chasers, if you will. They secure the job, and then what they can't do is the textiles and electronics and maybe some light pack outs. They'll call us in to do that work.
Got it. Okay. So is it almost like sort of subcontracting under them type of thing?
It is very much, but we deal directly with the insurance adjuster. The adjuster becomes our customer too, because they actually assign the work. So we spend a lot of time getting to know adjusters and earning their trust.
Okay, interesting. Speaking about franchising, I know the future for Dryy is growth, and especially you mentioned other markets like Baltimore and Richmond. Are you thinking about franchising, or is it also always going to be corporate, everything?
Listen, my business partner's not here to comment, but I think that we would entertain anything that made sense. And I don't know what that looks like. We've thought about it a lot of ways. I don't know a lot about expanding outside of the market. That scale to economy movement, it makes sense. I will say we've watched a lot of people try and dry cleaning and fail. I'm not saying it can't be done, but there's a right way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the big push, I think, 5-10 years ago when Zips came into market. And it's different. Of course, they don't have lockers, but you would just see everywhere Zips, $199, or I forgot whatever the pitch was.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Procter & Gamble did it too. Procter & Gamble launched their Tide cleaners, and they're doing really well in other markets. And they were not able to penetrate this market to date anyway. And I feel that we were a big reason they weren't. They have a locker brand as well.
Really?
But they weren't local. They didn't have a local operation here, and that is key.
And it's under the brand Tide?
Tide.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And so they're taking over the nation. They're in lots of markets. I don't know how many states to be exact, but they do have a very new, bright, shiny storefront. They have a drive-through component.
Okay.
That speaks well to certain markets for sure.
Sure, I understand. Coming to an end here, Ken.
Yeah.
What does the future look like for you in the business? the next couple of years?
Yeah, we're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to improve and get better and make sure that we understand our customer at all times. At some point at my age, you got to look at an off ramp.
Come on, Ken, you still have a long way to go.
Yeah, quality of life, man. No, listen, it looks as bright can be. I don't know in terms of expansion, but we will continue to reconstruct and look at our infrastructure and touch points, and we will continue to change the way DC does laundry, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you're not busy working, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Hike. I love the water. We have a boat that we do a lot of boating. Boating season is starting up, so I'm super excited about that. It's my happy place. Reading, working out. I used to. I've kind of fallen off that wagon for a little bit, but I need to get back.
When you go boating, do you go boating around here or you go elsewhere?
No, out of the harbor.
Okay.
Bridge. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about you and all the different companies, where can they go and find out more information?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. You can obviously find all of my personal background there. DryDC.com is a great way. If you reach out to the service, it'll come direct to me. Or if you
and that's Dryy with double Y, just so
correct.
People are listening. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so DryDC.com.
Yes, sir.
Great. Ken, thank you so much for joining and coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for what you do. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Take care. Pleasure. Take care.
You too.